So some of you may or may not know that Creator Clash 3 has been canceled. Essentially what Creator Clash is, for those of you who don't know, it is a boxing event put on by iDubbbz. It's essentially just an event that iDubbbz put together where he pits different content creators against one another for the entertainment of, those people's viewers, their audiences, and just anyone who wants to watch in general. Now, this one has been canceled due to the fact that it just wasn't selling that well. They couldn't get the backing for it, shit like that. It had a lot of stuff that had to deal with like the internal workings of the event. Just wasn't able to produce enough money, which isn't necessarily surprising seeing how much money the second Creator Clash made. It wasn't exactly a success, but it was essentially canceled. They just weren't able to get enough buzz over it. And Ludwig decided to talk about it on his stream. You may have seen a few clips of this going around, where he essentially blames iDubbbz making the content cop on Ethan Klein for why the event did not do well.
All right, chat. If you guys haven't heard, there's been a big update. Creator Clash 3 is officially canceled. We talked about it a bit ago, so I figured it was worth doing an update because we talked about it maybe a couple of months ago. But they finally posted today, we've made the difficult decision to cancel Creator Clash. All existing pay-per-view tickets will receive automatic refunds, no actions required. While the event will go as planned, all funds will still be donated to charity, and our fundraising efforts will continue the months ahead. Thank you to the fighters for their hard work, the Creator Clash team. Which, if I'm being totally candid, is like long time coming. I think it's probably a long time coming. This has been dead for a while and like on life support. This has been in a vegetative state. So it is, I think, ultimately the right call that they canceled it. Because if they had gone through with it, I think it would have done so bad. Ethan Klein did it. Okay, I'm not trying to be controversial here, but I do think iDubbbz posting the content cop was one of the dumbest moves ever. Straight up. That was crazy. I think it was not considerate of how many other people would be dragged into the situation who don't give a fuck and just want to fight.
Well, because it's not fucking about them. That's the thing. And it's so weird with Ludwig here because, like, obviously, he has been someone who's been putting on events over and over again, and so like he's very much thinking through like a business perspective with this, but at the same time Ludwig has shown over and over again that when it comes to these sort of topics, and when it comes to like the kind of drama of, I hate to call this drama because there are little people being threatened with lawsuits, trying to be silenced because of Ethan Klein just didn't like the way that they talked about him. And the fact that he has literally been targeting smaller creators over and over again. And that's like the big thing with this, is like iDubbbz made that video because he saw smaller creators being bullied by this guy. Like, yeah, he was also going after Hassan, but he was also going after people like Denims, Frogan, like North Star Radio, people like that. He was going after smaller content creators who weren't able to, like, who just didn't have a big enough audience to really like fight back all that much, or we're just getting harassed endlessly. And iDubbbz saw that and it was just like, I need to speak on that. But I guess for Ludwig, because he's so business minded, he just doesn't have the part of his brain where it's just like standing up to business, like that, like just standing up for smaller creators. Like, he's just, I've seen a lot of people call him like a fence sitter, and that's definitely the case. There was also that whole thing where he was like talking about a donation he made for a charity. I think it was Hassan's, that went for like, Palestinian aid in Gaza. Like he donated money for that charity, or maybe he was going to be a part of an event. I don't remember the whole like semantics, but essentially what it boiled down to is that while he donated money, he was skeptical about putting his name on it because he didn't want to upset any of his fans that might have been pro-Israel. And like, to me, that's just like a stupid thing to, like, when there is a current genocide going on and you're afraid that publicly showing any sort of support or publicly announcing that you're going to give money for aiding Gaza is going to make a couple of your fans mad at you, because they rather support a genocidal government over supporting innocent people. Maybe that's just the sort of fans you shouldn't have in your fan base that you should be glad would leave if you did such a thing. Like, that's the big problem with Ludwig, is that I feel like he's so, like, self-centered in this regard of, like, what would be better for me and my business? What would make me the most amount of money? Would it just be to shut up, or would it be actually, like, having a spine and talking on important issues? Because in this regard, iDubbbz did a very brave thing as someone who had, like, a very, like, edgelord audience in the past of being like, hey, I'm going to stand up for these people that these edgelords are going after and try to call Ethan out on his bullshit, even if it does, you know, negatively impact me. Like, he had a spine, he did the right thing, he tried to stick up for smaller creators, and Ludwig just can't even fathom that. He can't fathom, like, trying to stand up for creators who aren't, like, you know, friends of yours, or people, like, who are just not on your same level in terms of, you know, numbers. Because later on in this video, he's just like, you know, it's so sad, we can't see Myth box. You know, Myth doesn't have a boxing match now. I wanted to see Will Neff go, you know, take on the odd ones out. And what about Dad? You know, that guy who dresses up like a dad for the boxing events? What about him? And he literally plays his video where the guy's just complaining about not being able to go, you know, to do Creator Clash. Like, that's it. Like, there's a good chunk of this video where Ludwig is just like, let's watch this guy's video about how he's just upset that he can't box in Creator Clash anymore. And it's like, what am I supposed to get out of this? Like, am I supposed to feel bad just because, you know, some people just aren't gonna box other people because iDubbbz grew a spine and was like, hey, I'm gonna stand up for smaller creators who are getting harassed by Ethan? Like, I'm gonna show my support for people who are trying to speak out against a genocide, and Ethan Klein, who is just like, no, I'm just gonna continuously talk shit about you for doing so. Like, that's the thing. It's so disappointing from Ludwig here, of him just being like, but what about the money? It shows where your priorities are in terms of, like, what's really going on, what can impact other people. And also, like, there was also another reason why this event wasn't going to do well. It's the same reason why, like, the second event didn't even do well. It is mostly because it was being targeted by other people online. Like, with the second event, there was, like, a creator named, like, Froggy something, I forget what his name is, who was training with, like, a literal Nazi. Like, people found out that this guy, this creator who was going to be a part of the event, was literally practicing. He was, like, training with a literal fucking Nazi, Sam Hyde, and they pulled him from the event when they figured that out. Like, when, you know, Ian and Anissa found out that he was doing that, they were just like, well, we can't have you a part of the event, it's a bad look. And then these fucking, you know, incels online, these groypers, were just like, well, we're just gonna, like, you know, we're just gonna target your event. And now it's even more so, because now you have a bigger content creator who has literally been using his, like, right-wing Zionist audience to just harass these people nonstop. But to see him spin this as well, Ian should have just kept his mouth shut until the event happened, so that way these, you know, very big creators could have had their little event where they punch each other instead of, you know, sticking up for these people who are being harassed. It's just so gross coming from him.
You know, make that video when Creator Clash isn't happening, I would say. That makes no sense to me.
Wait for months and months and months. You know, just hope that Ethan's harassment doesn't continue. Make the video when it's already too late. Because by the time that video came out to where we are now with Creator Clash, you know, being canceled, Ethan has literally continued his harassment even if Ian never made that video, never made that content cop, the harassment still would have continued, and it wouldn't have stopped him from making, you know, that video where he says that he's gonna sue Frogan, Caseytron, and Denims. So yeah, make that video when it's already too late, when all this shit has already happened, just because, oh, some creators want to punch each other in the face. Yeah, it's fucking disgusting. It shows that you just don't have a backbone, that you can't see this through any other lens of people who you're close to just not being able to do a fun thing. That's it. Like, that's the only thing that's really gonna impact out of this, is that they just can't do a fun thing anymore, and they spent some time training. Like, that's it. And now that time is going to going to nothing. But like, whatever. Who cares? That still doesn't beat the fact that people are being harassed over this. And also the fact that he's only really seeing it through, like, you're running. He's just thinking of it like through a business mind, and I feel like he should really be gun shy when it comes to critiquing someone running an event, because well, you can definitely critique some of the ways that iDubbbz ran Creator Clash, both now and in the past. Ludwig doesn't exactly have anything to stand on when it comes to critiquing people, considering the last event that he hosted literally resulted in him cheering on someone like a Smash player, I guess. I don't really know who Mango is, but you've probably seen this circulate the internet a bit. Essentially what happened is that Ludwig had an event where he got all of his content creator friends, brought them all together, and they were going to drink some alcohol and play Mario Kart, and it was just supposed to be a fun time. And he brought on this like pro gamer, this like esports guy called Mango, and was cheering him on as he kept drinking and drinking and drinking. And it resulted in the reason why this event got as much like drama, like controversy surrounding it as it did, is because Mango literally sexually harassed people at the event. I believe it was Maya Higa and Extra Emily, I think. Like, there's literally a clip, I'm not gonna show it, of Mango, like, he comes into frame of like where their setup is, and then he starts like thrusting at them. He's like sexually harassing them like right behind him, and he's like drunk, which is no excuse, by the way. I'm not trying to like make an excuse at all. Just because you drink, like, just because you're drunk does not excuse what you do. If anything, when you get drunk, it just amplifies like your basic instincts. If anything, you're not thinking as much, because like I think this goes for like a lot of people. You've been drunk before, or you have seen people get drunk and they don't sexually harass people. So when people use the excuse of, oh, he was just really drunk, it's so fucking stupid, because that's not a natural thing that people fucking do. But yeah, this is Ludwig literally cheering him on. Now, he's not cheering him on to sexually harass people, but he was cheering on his drinking, which, again, it doesn't, again, being drunk is just an excuse, but it does, play into it a bit. And also the fact that like after this he took no accountability until he was pressured into taking accountability.
Hey everybody! Mango just blew a .32!
Yeah.
I'm no longer inviting Mango to Mogul Moves events. Cause like, it's a privilege to go to an event, man. Like
yeah, he was literally cheering on how drunk he got. But then when it had negative repercussions for him, he was just like, this guy should have been honored to come to my event. He should have been, he should have been honored. He shouldn't have been doing this stuff. It's like, even if you weren't cheering on him sexually harassing people, your actions, your, cheering on him continuing to drink did play a factor into this. Like, it did. And he just didn't take accountability until enough people started like, going after him, or it was just like, fine, yeah, it's my fault. Like, or at least I played a factor into it, because like, again, it's not his fault. Mango is his own person. He should have been able to control himself. He could have just stopped drinking. But again, when you have like the host of this event cheering you on, I can understand a bit of being like, well, I'm just not, just having a fun time. It's like peer pressure, especially when you're the person in charge of the event. Again, does not excuse the fact that he sexually harassed people. Ludwig is just not, he doesn't get to wash his hands clean of this. So I would be a little gun shy about critiquing someone else and how they ran their event when your actions did lead to, harassment happening at your event, and you just weren't able to take accountability of it until, people just kept calling you out for it.
It did not help the event whatsoever. It hurt the event. No one went to bat but Hassan for him. But like also Hassan's audience isn't watching fucking boxing events. What is that? That's not, I don't know. That's
Again, it just goes to show she's only thinking about the mindset of like, well, you should have thought of like what's profitable for you instead of just like standing on business. God, I can't say that fucking line anymore without thinking about that fucking meme. Was it Justin Bieber who was saying it or something?
It's not clocking to you. It's not clocking to you that I'm standing on business, is it?
iDubbbz, he was like, I'm seeing these creators who are like saying the right stuff, who are standing up for the right thing, and calling this guy out for essentially trying to critique anti-Zionists and shit like that. For, you know, I see this guy targeting people for being pro-Palestine. And, you know, I knew this person. I was friends with this person, and I don't like the person that I see anymore, so I'm going to call them out. And I'm going to say, hey, you're doing something that is like very wrong, and you're also like going after me for no reason. So I'm going to call you out about that. And Ludwig is just like, you just should have thought about the money, bro. It's so gross. Like, I don't understand this. Like, it comes off so gross. And I don't think he's been perceived well from this. I mean, this has 114k views and it only has 4k likes. It's not looking that great. I don't understand why he even thought about like talking about this shit, because like I remember months ago, it was after like when Cody Co, Ava Chris Tyson, and like Dr. Disrespect, like all the shit about them came out. And it was like back to back to back, by the way. And even Charlie, Moist Critical, made a video in a similar vein where it was just like, I just don't want to talk about this stuff anymore because it's just making me depressed. And I feel like this, you know, me making content about it isn't helpful, which I understand. And I honestly thought it was a good thing for them to just not do it. But like, that's what makes me feel so weird about this, is like, what made him think that he should make a video about this? Especially because like, this video isn't even on Mogul Mail, which is where a video like this usually would be at. But instead, it's on this channel, his Ludwig, which is like his clip channel, I guess. And in here, he just like, it's just like clips of him like playing, or like videos of him playing video games. He did talk about like the FaZe 4th of July party or something. And I don't know, something about this too. Like, it's just doesn't feel like it's that serious of a topic. Just like fun stuff that he does and shit like that. I don't know. Like, none of the stuff seems very serious, but then he's just like, no, I'm gonna talk about this event that you only know is gonna draw like more controversy around you. Like, I just don't understand his logic of being like, let me talk about this. And even more so, I don't understand why he's covering it in the way that he does. Like, does he honestly think that like a bunch of his fans are gonna be like, oh, the poor creators that just don't get to punch each other anymore? Like, yeah, I was excited for the event too, but like, you know, this is not exactly the way that I feel like that's like the bad side of it. I feel like the worst side of this is that this event was being targeted by a bunch of people online who are just upset that Ian dared to stand up for people who were pro-Palestine, because Ethan Klein is just a fucking insane person who's crashing out because his former co-host isn't pro-Israel enough for him. But yeah, I don't know. We're not going to cover all this again. There's a big portion of it where he literally just like watches this guy's video and he's just like, see how sad it is that he can't be at this event now because it's not happening? It's just pathetic, in my opinion. But I think that's all I'm gonna say about this. Hello everyone, thank you for watching today's video. If you would like to see other videos like this, please leave a like and subscribe down below. If you would like to hear me talk about a lot more nerdy subjects such as anime, comic books, video games, movies, and even pro wrestling, you can check out my second channel, The Fruit Basket. And if you would like to see me play video games, I have a channel called FruitySaur Gaming where you can check out those videos there. Anyways, that's all I have for today, and I'll see you all next time.